All right, today what we're going to be talking about is how to add and subtract polynomials. Remember, add or subtract. Adding is a lot easier, subtracting is slightly more difficult. So it's very important when you're looking at what to do, you know the process. Now this says subtract 8y squared minus 5y plus 7. It says subtract this from 2y squared. So what is subtracting? It means you're taking this away from this. So it's very important that you know where to start. So we are starting with what? We're starting with the 2y squared plus 7y plus 11. And we are literally subtracting 8y squared minus 5y plus 7. So when you're doing this, you got to know what you're subtracting what from, if that makes sense. So we're taking this away from this. Now, whenever you put a subtraction sign on the outside of a parentheses, what does that mean for us? Yeah, that means we got to distribute it to every single term. All right, so here we go. So what's the fast way of doing it if you actually understand that you got to distribute a negative? All you got to do is look at this and say, that's got to be the what? That's got to be the opposite. So it's got to be a negative 8y squared. And that's got to be the opposite, which makes it a positive 5y. That's got to be the opposite, which is a negative 7. And then all you got to do after that, I'm going to write the words that are very important after you do that. Combine like terms. Now, I realize that this generation has the attention span of a gnat, so if you need to go back and rewind that and see it again, you're more than welcome to. All right, so what do? Distribute, and then what? Combine like terms. So how do I combine a 2 and a negative 8? What's that going to give us? Negative 6y squared. You're right, very good. And then this is, don't overcomplicate stuff. All right, my second period class, they overcomplicate things. Literally, what's 7 plus 5, everybody? Boom, see? So it's just 12y. What's 11 minus 7? Just 4. That's it, you're done. Ta-da! All right, and that's all you have to type in. But you do have to type it in correctly. If you don't, you'll get it wrong. All right, so here we go. You guys have it down. Put negative 6y, but what do we got to do? We got to make sure we square it. Then what? Plus 12y, there we go. Plus 12y, and then what's at the very end? Plus 4. All right, hopefully we did everything right. We did! Nice work. We're going to keep it up, but we're not going to do 2 more. We might just do 1 more. Ooh, I like it. So right now I'm going to give you guys time. I'm going to pause the video in just a second, but please write all of this down in your journal. So write it down, and then we will do it together. If you're watching the video right now, just pause it and write this down. All right, so in this particular problem, it says t is equal to this trinomial and n is equal to this trinomial. And all we got to do is do n minus t. N, oh, this is kind of tricky. It says what? N minus t. So what do we got to start with, everybody? N. Negative 3a squared plus 2a minus 5. Now, if you're not sure what I'm doing, I'm going to highlight n in blue, okay? Because it says we have to take n and we got to take away t, which is this guy. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little shortcut, all right? Hopefully, you will understand this shortcut. So instead of doing this, instead of putting a parentheses around it and putting a negative and distributing, I'm just going to make everything the opposite. So right now, what's the opposite of a negative 2a squared? Boom, positive 2a squared. What's the opposite of a positive a? Negative a. What's the opposite of a positive 6? So all I did, listen, all I've done is if I know I'm going to be subtracting, whatever I'm subtracting, I just make the sign the what? The opposite, and then once again, what do? After we do that? Combine like terms. So if you can't see it very well, that's supposed to be a negative 3a squared, and we're adding a what? 2a squared. So what does it leave us with? A negative a squared. Now, some students might be tempted to put a 1 right there. Please don't. You'll get it wrong. You don't have to put a 1 there. This just says 2a minus 1a, which leaves us with a. And then negative 5 minus 6 more. If you spend $5 and you spend 6 more, you've spent a total of 11. And that's it. It's not hard. You just have to take your time and make sure you do things correctly. Now, what did I do that was a little bit different? I didn't do what? I didn't distribute it by hand. I just did it in my head. Okay? So I made this the opposite. I made this the opposite. And I made this the opposite. And I combined like terms. So see if we get it right. Ready? So we're going to put, now it's very important. Order matters. All right? So maybe we can do it in standard form. So we can do negative a squared. Then it was what? Plus a. And then plus 11. Oh, my bad. Good, thank you. All right. Always go back and make sure you type things in correctly. You don't want to do all that work and then get it wrong. That would be a bummer. We want to get it right. All right. Oh, one more. All right. Now, fortunately, you guys didn't get any easy problems with me. All right. Now, for you guys, you can get some easy problems where it just says add. So listen, if it says add, just add them. If it says subtract, this is where it's a little bit trickier. So we're going to do it the fast way. It says subtract what? Subtract this guy from this guy. So we're taking this guy away from this guy. So when it says from the 5a squared, what am I starting out with? I'm starting out with 5a squared minus 6a minus 4. And what am I doing? I'm subtracting this guy away from him. So if I do it the fast way, what do I have to do? I just have to make everything here what? The opposite. So what's the opposite? Now, here's the thing I need everybody to understand. The only reason why I am adding the opposite is simply because it says subtract. If that said add, I would not change any of the signs if that said add, but it says subtract. Then what am I going to follow it with? Yep, negative 3a, so minus 3a. And then change that to a what? So listen, what's the only reason why I changed the signs? The only reason is because that says subtract. If that would have said add, I would have simply written it down exactly as it appears. So now we add them together. How many a squareds do we have? A total of 12. How many negative a's do I have? A total of negative 9. And then 9 minus 4 is 5. It's like negative 4 plus 9 is 5. So there's my answer. That's all you got to do. 12a squared minus 9a plus 5. See if I can type it in. Ready? 12a squared. So some people were forgetting the squareds when they were doing it. And it's kind of a bummer. Minus 9a. And then, what do we got? Plus 5? All right. See how I'm just kind of checking my work, making sure I type it in nice and neat. And woohoo! That's all you got to do, everybody. That's all you got to do. Keep growing. Keep going. Keep growing. Be strong.